Imagine you're standing around a campfire 100,000 years ago. The sun has disappeared. The temperature is dropping. Somewhere beyond the darkness, you hear movement in the trees. Your family hears it too. You know exactly what it might be. A predator. A threat. Something that could kill everyone around you before sunrise. You want to warn the others. You open your mouth, and nothing comes out. Not because you're afraid. Not because you're injured, but because language doesn't exist yet. No words, no names, no stories, no questions, no way to explain what you're thinking. For most of human history, this was reality. Every conversation you've ever had, every joke you've laughed at, every argument you've won, every "I love you" ever spoken, all of it traces back to a moment when humans learned to do something no other animal had ever done before. They learned how to turn thoughts into symbols. And that single breakthrough changed the fate of our species forever. But how did it happen? How did a group of primitive humans go from making simple sounds to creating thousands of languages, writing books, building civilizations, and eventually sending messages across the planet in seconds? The answer is one of the most fascinating stories in human history. Long before humans had language, they still communicated, just like animals do today. A scream could signal fear. A gesture could point toward food. A growl could warn of danger. Chimpanzees, our closest living relatives, still use dozens of different sounds and gestures to communicate basic information. But there was one thing they couldn't do. They couldn't talk about things that weren't directly in front of them. A chimp can warn another chimp about danger, but it can't sit down and explain what happened yesterday. It can't describe a place 3 miles away. It can't tell a story. And that's the difference between communication and language. Language allows ideas to exist outside the present moment. It allows one brain to upload information into another brain. That may sound normal because we do it every day, but when you really think about it, it's extraordinary. Right now, you're looking at symbols on a screen. Those symbols are creating images, concepts, and thoughts inside your mind. That's not normal in nature. That's a superpower. Scientists believe that ability emerged slowly over hundreds of thousands of years. As human brains became larger and more complex, our ancestors developed something called theory of mind, the ability to understand that other people have thoughts, beliefs, and knowledge different from their own. Once you realize another person has a mind, you can begin sharing information with it. You can teach, you can plan, you can cooperate. And suddenly, survival becomes much easier. Imagine a hunter finding a valley filled with food. Without language, he would need to physically bring everyone there. With language, he could simply explain where it was. A few sounds could save days of searching. The humans who communicated better survived better. And over thousands of generations, evolution rewarded that ability. But having ideas wasn't enough. Humans also needed the physical tools required for speech. And strangely, one of those tools makes us worse at surviving in another way. Compared to most mammals, humans have a lower voice box called the larynx. This gives us the ability to produce an enormous range of sounds. It's one of the reasons we can speak so clearly. But there's a downside. Because of this anatomy, humans choke far more easily than most animals. Every year, people die from swallowing food the wrong way. In other words, evolution accepted a higher risk of choking because the ability to speak was that valuable. Scientists have also discovered clues hidden inside our DNA. One of the most famous is a gene called FOX2. People born with damaged versions of this gene often struggle with speech and grammar. What's fascinating is that Neanderthals, our extinct human relatives, carried a very similar version of the same gene. That suggests the foundations of language may be hundreds of thousands of years older than modern humans themselves, which means our ancestors may have been preparing for language long before language fully appeared. But here's where the story gets really interesting. Many researchers believe language didn't become powerful because humans got smarter. They believe humans got smarter because language became powerful. Once people could share ideas accurately, Knowledge no longer died with the individual who discovered it. For millions of years, every animal on Earth had to learn most things for itself. Humans changed that. One person learned something useful, then shared it, then someone improved it, then someone improved it again. Knowledge started accumulating. And once knowledge could accumulate, everything accelerated. Hunting became more efficient, tools became more advanced, social groups became larger, and culture began to emerge. For the first time in Earth's history, information was evolving alongside biology. Then something incredible happened. Humans started doing things that had nothing to do with immediate survival. They painted animals on cave walls. They created jewelry. They buried their dead with care. They made music. They told stories. Why? Because language had unlocked imagination. Humans could now share things that existed only inside the mind. A memory, a dream, a myth, an idea. And once ideas could spread from person to person, entire civilizations became possible. Every kingdom, every religion, every scientific discovery, every law, every nation, every book, every movie, every podcast, every YouTube video. All of it traces back to one revolutionary moment. The moment humans learned how to place thoughts inside other people's minds. And perhaps the most amazing part is that we still don't know what the first true word was. It might have been a warning. It might have been a name. It might have been a description of food, water, or danger. Whatever it was, that word is lost forever. But its impact is everywhere. Because right now, as you're hearing these words, your brain is performing one of the greatest miracles in human history. Tiny vibrations travel through the air. Your brain decodes them, and somehow, meaning appears. A thought that began in one mind suddenly exists in another. That's language. A tool so powerful that it transformed a vulnerable ape into the dominant species on Earth. And it all started when one ancient human looked at another in the darkness and discovered a way to say something more than a sound. A way to share a thought. A way to be understood. And from that moment on, humanity would never be the same. Language spreads through generations. Knowledge begins growing faster. Communities become stronger. Civilization starts emerging. Stories, culture, and traditions appear. New inventions change the world. Humanity begins shaping the future. All because of language. The greatest invention humans ever created.